Yo, yo, what's going on in the hood, everybody? Kunal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Want to take a second go over, quick thing that we went over today. This is how to buy, an extended bounce play. So, every blue moon, some type of news comes out in the world that's like maybe a little bit of an overreaction, right? And something that's a little bit out of the norm. And so today we were trading this BRZU. So BRZU is an ETF for Brazil. So Brazil got rocked with some news that their prime minister, president, was involved in some type of bribery charge, right? And so, in the morning, I'm looking at the ETF for the Brazilian markets. Let me get this pre-market data, and then what you'll see is, this thing opened up, and then it was just getting flooded pre-market. See that? As soon as it opened, it's just down, 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 go, right? And so it's down, 15, 16%. So this is a country, right? It's Brazil. It's not going anywhere. That's a huge move, right? In the U.S., we have like 1% down days, and everybody thinks it's the end of the world, right? And this is down 15%. And now look, momentum can keep going. So, this can turn over the next week to 15 to 30 to 40%, whatever it might be. But, on an intraday basis, when something like that happens, I get a little bit interested in it, especially if you can get down close to old support levels. And so I kind of was looking at this 31 on the EWZ. And so what I'm doing on this is, as the stock opens, I use BRZU. That's the 3X ETF for EWZ. So it gives you that little extra leverage. And so, what we did on this was we took a few trades on it. I made about $2,500 on it. But as this thing gapped down here, and you can see it initially, it had this quick squeeze up. When you come down here and you kind of make this double bottom, I'm taking this thing as it's starting to break its trend lines, okay? So I take an initial position. Now, the cool thing is I only took 100 shares, right? You don't have to go in too big. Remember that the range on this is going to be huge, right? We're in this to make dollars, not pennies. So I take 100 shares. As this thing starts around, I double up at the 9 EMA with essentially a kind of a 28 target. So I added 24, then I added a couple hundred shares at 25, and then I scaled out along the way, towards 28, okay? And so that's kind of your morning setup. Now, what happens in trading is when you have a morning setup, typically there's some type of end of day setup, okay? So there's 3 different phases to the trading day. You have your morning, then you have your midday, which is like your 11 to 1, and then you have your close. So now that the setup's over, I go about and do the rest of the stuff. And as you can tell, man, I was not doing very good trading today. Loss. But I was stalking this one for that end of day setup, right? That comes after lunch. So the key for me is to watch this VWAP, right? That's your volume weighted average price. If you can get into the close, if you can start hanging out above that VWAP, that becomes very bullish to me, right? Because that gives you that kind of line in the sand and some weight under it. And so as the thing breaks through the VWAP, I start to watch it. It comes down and it's hanging and it makes a pop, right? So you make your first higher high. And that doesn't mean anything in itself, but I'm watching to see if it retests and holds here. So as this thing starts to flag out, I add a few hundred shares of this thing as it starts to break. Then as it starts to break higher, I keep adding to my position. So I get 200 more shares. And boom, this thing pops up to 27. It's scale out, scale out, scale out. I keep a couple hundred shares of this thing. And now I'm starting to look for the big move, right? Because now the momentum is starting. So as the stock starts to flag along its 9 EMA here, I re-add 500 shares of this bad boy. Because now my risk is super small on this, right? It's starting to trend. It's starting to make higher highs, higher lows. And now you're using your 9 EMA as that cushion under it to propel it higher, but also to help you manage your risk. And so I take this thing up, 500 more shares, and then it was just off to the races. I I started selling in the 28.40s. I got some at 29. I sold the rest at 29.47. I almost top tick this thing. And then I got out of it, and then, it ended up having some news later and kind of came back down. But overall, just a good solid squeeze. The thing about something like this is, look, from the bottom to the top, 22 to 29, that's $7, right? So even if you're trading a smaller account, say you got, a smaller account, you could trade 100 shares or 200 shares of this and still make money. The key to trading is not to just think about like penny stocks and like, oh, like it went up 10%. Well, 10% penny stock is nothing, right? It's a few pennies. It's hard to trade in and around there. You have to think more in terms of range. What can I do with my money that can allow me to trade back and forth, right? I find it easier to take 100 shares of something and trade it around back and forth than something that's moving dollars and dollars versus trying to take thousands of shares and get rid of them all and buy them all and trade all within 10 cents or 20 cents. That's a personal preference, but something I've learned over the years. So I hope that helps. It's a good type of bounce day. A little bit tough day in the markets the last couple of days, right? A lot of volatility. If you guys are having trouble managing this type of volatility, I took a loss yesterday for $1,000. Just lower your position size a little bit. Wait things out, but make sure you're not, going, balls deep right at the open. That's a mistake I make sometimes. When the market gets a little bit volatile, like you just want to short everything right at the open, and then you get all these reversals. Then you got to chase the reversal, then it comes back down, and you get stuck in that slippery cycle. Make sure that you're just wait it out for a few, get an idea of the direction of where the trend is going in the morning, and start just stalking your positions. The only thing you need is one good trade in a day to have an awesome day. You know what I mean? That's kind of something I'm always hunting for, is that one good trade, and then you're kind of setting yourself up for it. So guys, feel free to leave any comments, and let me know if you have any questions. You can always feel free to email me, Kunal at bullson.ws, and I will always get back to you. Take care.